The sun filtered through the towering trees of the enchanted woods, casting dappled patterns of light onto the forest floor. The air was crisp with a sweet, earthy aroma of pine and wildflowers, and every step felt like it could awaken the slumbering magic that hummed beneath the surface. Birds chirped melodiously, and the leaves rustled in a gentle breeze that seemed to whisper secrets of the ancient forest. In the midst of this, a golden-haired girl no older than 10 wandered.
Why do these woods look so different?
Her golden curls bounced with each step, and her sky-blue eyes sparkled with curiosity. She wore a pale blue dress, frilly at the edges, with a pair of brown boots that were scuffed from many adventures. This was Goldilocks, known far and wide for her boldness and for that famous incident with 3 bears. She had come this way many times before, but never ventured this far. Today, something pulled her deeper into the forest. As she moved, she noticed a vivid splash of red up ahead, standing out against the emerald green of the woods. Her curiosity piqued. Goldilocks tiptoed closer, hoping to glimpse what or who was wearing such a bright color. And in a small clearing, framed by sunbeams and the shimmering leaves, stood Little Red Riding Hood. She was a petite girl with bright round eyes as green as fresh spring leaves, and she wore her iconic scarlet cloak, the hood pulled up over her dark chestnut hair. She was holding a basket filled with freshly picked wildflowers and berries. Red bent down, her fingers lightly brushing a patch of bluebells. Her grandmother had always loved these flowers. As she straightened up, she sensed someone watching her.
Hi there.
Startled, Red gasped and clutched her basket.
Oh, you scared me!
I didn't mean to, I just saw you and, well, I got curious. I'm Goldilocks.
The Goldilocks? The one with the bears?
Goldilocks sighed, brushing a lock of hair from her face.
Yes, but it's not as exciting as everyone thinks. It was a mistake, really.
Red smiled, her face brightening with amusement.
That sounds like something that would happen to me. I'm Little Red Riding Hood, by the way.
She lifted her hood for a moment, revealing her glossy chestnut hair. Goldilocks beamed.
I know your story. With the wolf and your grandmother, I've always wanted to meet you.
Same here. I didn't expect to run into you in the middle of the woods. What are you doing out here?
I'm exploring. The forest has always felt like home to me. It's full of surprises. What about you? Going to see your grandmother?
Red nodded, her basket swinging gently.
Yes, I visit her every week. She lives on the other side of the woods.
Mind if I join you? I've never had anyone to explore with before.
Red hesitated only for a moment. There was something about Goldilocks that seemed fearless yet kind.
I'd like that.
As the 2 girls walked through the forest together, the bond between them grew. Red showed Goldilocks her favorite spots. The pond where the dragonflies danced above the water, the tree with a hollow big enough to hide in, and the berry patch with the sweetest raspberries.
Try one!
Red offered, holding out a plump red berry. Goldilocks popped it into her mouth and grinned.
Delicious!
She exclaimed, her lips stained with berry juice. Goldilocks, in turn, taught Red how to navigate the trickier parts of the woods, how to spot signs of nearby animals, and which mushrooms were safe to eat.
You're so brave.
Red said, watching Goldilocks climb a rock effortlessly to get a better view of the forest. Goldilocks shrugged.
I guess I've just had to learn to take care of myself. My curiosity gets me into trouble sometimes, but it also leads me to new things, like meeting you.
Red giggled again.
You remind me of myself, always curious and getting into situations I shouldn't.
The deeper they went into the forest, the more the air seemed to change. The sunlight grew dimmer as thick clouds rolled in, casting a cool, shadowy light over the trees. The chirping of birds faded, replaced by the distant hoot of an owl. Goldilocks stopped, her eyes narrowing as she looked around.
Do you hear that?
Red paused, listening intently. The forest had gone still, as if holding its breath. Then came the faint rustling of bushes. Red clutched her basket a little tighter, a flicker of unease crossing her face. Suddenly, from behind the trees, a large, dark figure emerged. A wolf, its fur was silver grey and its eyes gleamed like cold embers. Red gasped.
It's him, the wolf!
Goldilocks stepped forward, her hands balled into fists.
Don't worry, Red. I'm not afraid of wolves.
The wolf padded toward them, his eyes locked on Red. He was smaller than Red had remembered, yet still menacing.
Back again, Little Red. Where are you off to now?
Red stood her ground, her legs trembling slightly.
I'm not afraid of you anymore, Wolf.
Goldilocks moved to stand beside her, her chin lifted in defiance.
Leave her alone!
The wolf's yellow eyes flickered to Goldilocks, taking in the girl with the golden hair.
And who are you?
I'm someone you don't want to mess with.
There was a moment of tense silence, and then, unexpectedly, the wolf snorted and turned away, slinking back into the shadows.
Another day, perhaps.
Red let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding.
Thank you.
Goldilocks smiled.
That's what friends are for.
By the time they reached Red's grandmother's cottage, the sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange. Red knocked on the door, and a sweet, elderly voice called out.
Come in, my dear.
Goldilocks and Red entered the cozy little cottage, the smell of freshly baked bread and herbs filling the air. Red's grandmother, a kindly old woman with silver hair and kind eyes, greeted them warmly. As they sat by the fire, enjoying tea and sweet pastries, Red and Goldilocks exchanged stories of their adventures. They laughed and talked late into the evening, their bond growing stronger with every shared word. From that day on, the two girls were inseparable. They explored the forest together, faced their fears, and learned from each other's strengths. Their friendship, forged in the heart of the enchanted woods, blossomed into a lifelong bond. Goldilocks and Little Red Riding Hood, two girls from different tales, united by courage and curiosity, became the best of friends, proving that sometimes the most unlikely encounters lead to the greatest friendships of all.